Welcome everybody to part 3 of this slice of wooden tree. I guess it's going to make an amazing Lazy Susan. I'm excited to finish this thing up. I'm here painting this live, and one of the neat things about what I'm doing here today is that I've just shared this coloring book on Amazon, and the link is in the description. And what I did was I flipped through the book and I picked a design to take as an inspiration for this mandala design. So as you can see, it's bad? Oh, okay. Sorry. So as you can see, I'm trying to imitate this design as closely as possible. So really all I have left is the top dotting of this exterior part of the mandala design. So I really think I can just jump right into it. Alright, so I'm all ready. I have my sponge with water to wipe off my brushes. I have a cup of water. I have my selected colors. Now I'm not selecting any of these colors kind of like pre-selecting them, but I did say I'm going to work with oranges, yellows, blues, whites, and blacks, and I decide as we go what color I'm going to use. So to work from the inside out, so I'm not putting my hand on any wet colors, I think it might be a good idea to let's start with these petal blues here. Now I wonder if this closer up scene works well. Okay, that's interesting. Just added that for this live stream, a second camera. So for this blue, I have a couple pretty metallic blues. I could go with one of those. And I actually do think that would be nice. So I'll go ahead with this Deco Art metallic blue. You know, these metallics, they tend to settle a lot. So I'm doing that. Let me just quickly close the door. I'm going to reuse this palette because it's been a couple days now since I last went live. So those things are amply dry right now. I don't know if any of you peel your paint out of these little palette things, but isn't that just so satisfying? I should make a video of peeling paint out of a palette. Make it some sort of like maybe an ASMR-y type video. That would be fun. All right. Okay, a little warm up there. That looks good. Let's go for it. I'm going to zoom in here so you can see how that turned out. Where'd it go? Wait a minute, I don't know. Oh, is it all the way over on this side? Okay, that's not going to work out for close-ups because that's on the left-hand design of the side of the design. But let me see. I guess it's okay. This is a little different than the normal swooshes because I'm stopping prematurely of making a full tail. I'm going to put a little palette under here to help steady this board. Whoops. This paint is a little lumpy here, and I was putting a little too much pressure, and my stylus started writing along the grooves. So I'm going to put a little bit of lighter pressure so I don't fall in those grooves for a lumpy paint. I just did it again. I'd be interested in knowing what you guys end up painting the most. Is it rocks, canvases, other objects like this? I personally find it a challenge to not dilly-dally when I'm making Mandala. Like, to really stay on focus, to just keep consistently dotting, so I don't honestly take too much time. But then it becomes a balance between being accurate and rushing the process. Yeah, there are a lot of bumps in this paint, and I'm having a real hard time keeping these straight. Look at that. So there's a little speck here, and that was from me dragging the paint over the design to come over here to the camera side. Normally I wouldn't. Ooh, I almost put my hand in the let me see what happens if I switch cameras. And then come over here. Got some paint here. Feels like I'm trying to do too much at once. Oh, you know, I have different lighting on than I did prior, because I can see that big glow. So let me switch the lighting here. What I meant by glow, I meant by a reflection. I did feel a little rushed this morning just because I thought, oh, let me add a second camera to this live stream. And then it didn't go as quickly as I thought it would. There's a few drips here. I'm going to clean them up. I see one over there. Man, I made a mess trying to drag my stylus over to the other side on that other camera. Let's bring this around a little bit. Left too much space on that one. There we go. Oh, I am making a mess everywhere. All right, so what color should we do next? I think the next obvious one would be this orange. And I have a color pre-mixed for that. That's too thick. And clean these brushes off, and I'll get right back to that painting. Let's see, what would be a good size for this? That looks like a good one right there. Okay. Should I clean up these blue specks before I continue? Cutting swabs. And check out the a short on this channel where I showed what my supply case is like. I've got these little individual cases for every little type of supply I need, from my rods to rubbing alcohol, and I mean it's got everything in there but paint. X-Acto knives. There we go. All those sorts of things. All right. Round 2. Dot, dot. Now this is a little thicker. It's making a sharper point dots. Have you ever made a mandala with a really thick paint? And in fact, I'll show you here. I wonder if you can see the points or not. I don't think that camera is really choosing the right point to focus on. It's probably too far away. What about if I did it over here? Yeah, I think that camera's a little blurry. I'll finish up this ring and then I'll go back to the other camera. Because when it's got these sharp points like this, it really makes it hard to... not hard, but it really makes it uncomfortable to run your hand over the design and just kind of feel it, because there's like, ow, 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 ow. Also, when I'm doing a resin, the little points, they kind of peek up over the top. And I made this orange. It's got a glossy orange from DecoArt. But then also I mixed in a metallic yellow to make it a little brighter. Well, what's interesting, it's looking very much like the same color as the orange below it, which I think is okay sometimes, because then the new definition doesn't come from this stark contrast like on these blues. It comes from the shadows being created by the paint on top of it. The shadows and the highlights, which I think is a really neat look. Coming right along here. feel pretty bummed because on a couple days ago when I did part 2, I had a problem with my audio where everything echoed. And I think that was because I was using my desktop browser to monitor the live stream and be able to chat with my keyboard. And unfortunately, I left the sound on the live stream, and then so I was casting both from my browser, which is showing up about 10-15 seconds later, because that's the way. So everything that I say shows up about 15 seconds later on the live stream. It's a sort of buffering feature. But it ended up being a 15-second echo, and it was just horrible, and I was so sad that everything was lost. And it was kind of funny because even though there wasn't anybody there, I did make the effort to kind of keep speaking and share my thoughts with you. It was all for naught. Okay, I can hear a street sweeper going on outside, so I'm going to shut that window. You know, it doesn't, you know, maybe I could have put yellow on those dots and then maybe put orange inside these yellow dots. But it didn't go that way, which is okay. So I'm going to go ahead and dot. I'm going to make these dots with the top dot of orange with the one I just used. I'm going to make this blue one with the top dot of yellow just to provide a neat little contrast. Let's see how that goes. Let's choose a dotter that looks like it's going to be a good size for this. Let's go a touch smaller. That one was a 11. You know, I don't know why it seems like the dotting size I'm always looking for is the one I can find the slowest. I always find every other size but the size I'm looking for. I just spilled some water. You know, I don't know if like having, kind of a clumsy moment several times in a row sets the theme for the whole live stream, or I'm just getting it all out of the way early. Because I just stuck my finger in blue paint, I spilled water. Not the end of the world, but it's turning out to be just one of those days so far. Okay, let's get some metallic yellow out. This is I've never heard of this brand, but it had a nice set of metallics that I was interested in, and I tried it out, and it turned out being Turned out to be really good. I don't even know like if I can find it online again or anything. But I was super happy with that kind of random chance purchase. Okay, I'm going to grab a size 8 here. And top dot that blue one as yellow. Can you see that? Let me zoom in a little bit. So right here, I'm going slower while dotting these because I'm trying to hover my hand over the paint I just did so that you can see it on this, to me, the left side of the piece. All right, there we go. And you know, honestly, there isn't much left to do here. If I top dot this yellow ring here, I don't think it's going to add that much. Maybe make a slightly contrasting yellow. For instance, I just used this metallic orange and yellow, and maybe if I bring some orange into here, you would darken up the yellow a little bit just to provide enough contrast so it wouldn't be like a stark contrast like this. But would just kind of elevate it just a touch, and so I think I'll go with that. Let's zoom back out. Add a little more metallic yellow. Because that orange is going to take over really quickly, isn't it? Because it's so dark. So there's the yellow. Let's bring a spatula out. Get these guys mixed up. Let's see how it goes. Yeah, let's give it a try. Okay, can you see if I dot over here? Let's put that phone on. I put it on vibrate, but clearly it's even the vibrate's too loud. And this is interesting. When it's here on the board, here it's looking somewhat like, you know, a little more orange color, but on the board it's coming out kind of like a tan almost. zoom in on that and see if you can see it a little better. Let's bring this around. Here we are right there. Let me see if I can move myself around so you can see it better and I can stay zoomed in without putting my hand into the paint. What about right there? Yeah, you can see that. How about what everyone's going to be doing for Halloween? I don't know what I'm going to dress up as. I'm a last minute decider. How about a Halloween dad joke? What do you get when you cross a snowman with a vampire? Frostbite. I already missed 2 in a row, so I'm going to wipe these off and do them again. I've been thinking about how I'm going to resin this. And it has a few challenges, honestly. One of the first challenges is that some of these dots are somewhat peaked. They have sharp raised points because the paint was really thick. And that means it ends up poking out of the resin once it levels. So the solution to that would be to put on several coats. The other challenge is, I don't know if you can see it here, the edge of this is extremely rough. It's a very rough bark from whatever tree this came from. And it does occasionally flake, so I would like to seal that in, but that's going to present 2 problems. Of course, it's just going to run down the sides, right? So you're going to have drips across the bottom, in which case that can get filed off. But the other problem is, you know, it can be difficult to get the resin in all the crevices. It can create bubbles, bits of wood floating around in the resin, which I don't think will be too noticeable. But some of the challenges I'm thinking about when it comes to finishing this piece off. Now the resin I use, the Pro-Marine resin, after about 4 hours, it gets to a sticky consistency in which it's an ideal point to put on another coat. Because if you wait for a resin to completely harden, it becomes a very glossy surface, and it's very difficult for another coat of resin to stick on top of that. It would break off easily and has nothing to grab onto. So the right practice, if that happens, is to rough it up before you put on another coat. The problem is when you're dotting, you can't rough it up because it's going to take off the peaks of some of these thicker paint dots. So when planning to resin a piece like this, you end up having to put aside 3 to 4 hours after making the first coat and put on your second coat. And then like this one, where I think it's going to need 3 coats because of the height of some of these peaks, it's going to be 3 to 4 hours after that. And of course, finding a nice level surface so it doesn't bunch up on one side. You know, an alternative could be to use a clear spray several times, but that just won't get thick enough to swim some of these dots below the surface. If I reflect back on this piece, I think one of my bigger regrets on the way the dots went were these black dots here. What happened was I dotted them first and was going to draw them out into swooshes, very, very short swooshes. But then I forgot and they dried. So I redotted them and tried pulling them out, and they turned out incredibly lumpy. And with my luck, it is a very glossy black, so the lumps are somewhat visible even though it's a black pigment, because the highlights glossing off of it so sharply. So, but then again, we'll criticize our own pieces, and it's the kind of thing that nobody else notices until you point it out. So it's not really worth pointing out. I think between all the chatting and everything, I'm thinking about how long this piece took me to finish. And I'm going to say so far now, I think it was about 6 or 7 hours. I mean, if I just count that it's been 6 or 7 hours of live stream. Or maybe it hasn't been that long just because I did take some breaks on the first live stream. I think a design like this would normally only take me 2 to 3 hours. If it wasn't lollygagging and chatting with the participants in live stream and stuff like that. I'm sorry if I was doing that off camera. Okay, what do you think? You know, I don't know that there's incredibly much left to do on this. So definitely could do these. And there's other ways that I could finish this one off, but I am trying to keep it true to this design, by the way, is page 75 in my coloring book. I'm trying to keep it true to the design, and so for now we have these leaves, the circle, the couple inner circles, this inner set of leaves, and the design is pretty much complete as it is in the coloring book. So that being my goal, I think we're about finished. Let's just finish maybe top dotting these and then see if there's anywhere else that might be able to use a little something. So I think I'm just going to need a touch of this yellow. The problem is that this is not going to be, this well is not going to be deep enough to properly get, let's see, where can you see this if I put this over here? Get enough paint on the ball head stylus. Right now this paint is running a little thick, so I'm going to be taking some of this pouring medium, get that in there to liquefy it a little more. I'm going to scrape it towards them, gather it in the middle a little bit more, just so it can be a little bit deeper. we go. Get that dried up. And away we go. Dot, 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 dot. Dot, dot, dot. Oops. You can hear these little noises. I've got another camera for filming that's got a little bit of a higher resolution, whereas right now I'm sharing this with you on my webcam. And this is a walking dots technique that I'm doing right now, where you don't redip your stylus in between each dot, and that way they get consecutively smaller. In this case, it looks like a little snowman. Wait a minute, don't they say don't eat the yellow snow? It's a yellow snowman. And that's it. I'm finished. So thank you to, well, actually, I do want to thank everybody that has come, but let me just show you real quickly before we go. This coloring book, I do have it on Amazon. It's called Mindful Mandalas, and you can search for it by Mary Thompson or find it in the what do you call it, in a link in the description. And one of the neat features that I've done with it is, sorry, getting paint on my arm. Each one has an inspirational quote at the bottom of the page, and I've provided a dotted line here so that you can cut them out very squarely and fit them in a frame, or maybe use them as a scrapbooking sort of gift card of some sort, birthday card, sympathy card, and those kind of things. And made sure the lines are very crisp, and made the designs very suitable for coloring, especially with colored pencils. And there's a bunch of different difficulties there. There's the more simple one, but here's a more intricate one. So if you're a parent, you can be doing it with your kids, and everyone can choose or maybe don't have a lot of time and just want to do one of the simple ones. There's a whole bunch of variety in there. So I appreciate anyone who's gotten the book. I would love to see if you could leave a review, because I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. It'll also help me out tremendously. Reviews help boost the visibility of the book on Amazon, so that I would find that extremely helpful. But this has been fun. This is the first time I went live on this channel, and we ended up with this design. I think it worked out well, and I'm already thinking about who I might be gifting this to. So thanks a lot, and I hope everyone